What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another daily outlook where I will go over the yen pairs to see what they will do and how they will end up after this week. So, basically, what we can see on the daily is that we're bullish on the yen basket and that we could now eventually trade up higher with all this bullish order flow because we are respecting those demand zones at all time. So, what happened? We grabbed liquidity recently and then we got a fractal break to the upside. So over here we grabbed liquidity and then over here we changed fractal bullish. What does this mean? Well, that we create a daily demand zone and this could push price back up higher again. So now what I'm looking for is of course a tap in towards the demand and then we could trade up higher again in towards those highs and eventually these swing highs. So going over to the 4 hour then, well, what do I see? Of course that here some buyers stepped into the market and then that were also 4 hour bullish, so we could eventually actually trade in towards that swing high. Now we still had this daily demand open, and I think we could easily trade back in towards that demand and then trade up higher. Reason being, first of all, this is still open. Second of all, we have this weekly open which only has been trading up, and I think we can definitely trade under it before moving up higher. So I'm going to set my alert on top of this refined zone, and from here I'm definitely looking at upside on the yen basket, so that means downside on the XXX JPY pairs. So let's look at euro yen. First of all, on the daily, well, what do we see? That this is our daily, and let me remove this real quick, that we grabbed a liquidity above this high and that we now could move down lower and grab liquidity under these lows in towards this daily demand. Now our daily fractal is still bullish from this low in towards this high, so we could just keep on moving upwards. But if we look at the order flow, we also have bullish order flow, so this is looking that it could still trade up higher and then move down lower unless we break this low, then a pullback, and then we could trade down lower. I don't think this is the best pair to go short, and basically what I'm looking for is a nice yen pair where we could take a short setup in line with the yen basket. But let's see what the 4 hour brings us. So we are bullish and we kind of have some bullish order flow, but we just broke the order flow, so now the order flow is bearish and we have this supply which is in control and could push price down lower. Am I going to take a short setup on euro yen? Well, there is a lot of liquidity, we have bearish order flow, but the 4 hour is bullish, and on the daily we still had that demand and the daily fractal was bullish, so I'm not going to take euro yen as my pair to short. But now we could see some downside on the euro yen, maybe from that yearly level, like a tap in towards that yearly level and then like a pullback, but I'm not going to trade this because it's just not the best idea. Going over to GBP yen, however, this is looking really good. So basically what happened is that we grabbed liquidity above this high and we kind of trade in towards this supply zone. So from this supply, what did we see? Well, a reaction, and we broke this daily fractal. So what did we have? Well, we create another supply zone which could push price back down lower again. So if we go over to the 4 hour, well, we can clearly see that we tapped in towards this supply, grab liquidity here, and now we had a 4 hour trend over here, and then our 4 hour trend is now bearish, and now we could trade down lower. So this is our premium versus discount tool, and we should at least trade in towards those premium prices and then trade down lower. So what can I see? Well, that I have a 4 hour supply zone over here. So this is definitely what I'm waiting for, like just not another small pullback, and then I will look at confirmation, and then I will take those A plus setups to take shorts in towards all of these liquidity lows. So that's definitely what I'm waiting for. For now, you could see some upside in towards that supply, but would I trade it? Well, it is possible, but I'm not going to do it because the yen basket for me should trade up higher in the long term, and I just want to trade a swing setup that is A plus, so I can just relax with my setup. So going over to USD yen, well, what did we see? We are 4-hour bullish, and then after this move up, we got a move down in towards the discount prices, and from there we see a reaction up in towards this supply. So now is the question, is this supply going to hold and then we will trade down lower, or are we going to respect the swing and will we trade up higher in towards this swing high? So how are we going to look at this? Well, we first are going to look at the daily to see, or the weekly to see what's up. So on the weekly, we can see that we still have an open demand, which I think sooner or later we definitely have to hit. And we have this supply on the weekly, which is in control and could push price down lower again. So going over to the daily, we grabbed liquidity and we came in towards this refined daily demand, where we reacted from and now have bullish order flow. So now we have this demand. Ooh, actually that's not true, because over here we had our daily fractal low break, because what happened is we traded up higher, we traded in this demand, we traded up higher, and then we had new demand, which we now broke. So now we have supply and we could trade down lower. So let's remove all of these zones and let's draw down this supply zone. So this is our supply where we could trade down lower from, and yeah, this is exactly what I'm waiting for in order to trade down lower. So I think even though we still need to trade in towards the premium prices, we are still in towards the premium prices like this. So this is still what we need to see, and then we could move down lower. But as we can see, we are still like in this internal trend down, so we could still trade down lower in towards this weekly demand over here. So I'm still looking at downside on USD yen in order to trade in towards that weekly demand. So going over to the 4-hour, well, okay, the 4-hour is swing bullish though, so that's not something that great. But as we can see, we kind of have bearish order flow, and if we look at the 1-hour, well, the 1-hour is bearish very clearly, and we now have this open supply, correct, and this is a 3 condition POI. So what does this mean? Well, it takes out liquidity, then it leaves behind liquidity, correct, and it causes a break of structure. So it causes this 1-hour break of structure. So this is a very strong supply zone, which could push price down lower again in towards the lows. So I'm definitely looking at some shorts on USD yen and trade in towards this 1-hour swing low. So that's what I'm waiting for, and I will keep you guys updated inside my update channel. So let's go over AUD yen. Well, I was looking at this, but this didn't happen. So let's go over to the daily first and let's see what we are looking for. So at the moment we have this supply which is in control and is pushing actually price down lower. So now we have kind of this refined supply where price could retrace in towards, and then we could trade down lower. So let's go over to the 4-hour and let's see what we want to see. So we are bearish with bearish order flow, and we see some sellers step into the market, and now we broke this structure over here. So what I'm looking for is a pullback above the weekly open, tap in towards that supply, and from here I will aggressively short in towards a swing low again. So going over NZD yen, well, what do we see? That we are of course swing bearish. We made our pullback and now we could trade down lower. We see sellers step into the market over here and over here, and then I would expect like another pullback up higher in towards this supply above the weekly open, and then trade down lower in towards that swing low again. So NZD yen and AUD yen need some more development, but sooner or later we will take those short setups. Then take a look at Swiss yen. So looking at the daily, well, what do we have? We have bearish order flow, and now we have this supply which could push price down lower again, and we also have bullish order flow forming. So now it's a fight between bullish and bearish order flow, and as you can see over here, we broke the daily fractal. So what happened? Well, we created a new supply zone on the daily, so they're now still fighting against each other. So this demand, and 1 second, so this demand zone is fighting against this supply zone, and let's see which one will work out. So let's look at the 4 hour, and we are just turned 4 hour bullish, but we still need to make a connection with the discount prices, right? So we have this move up, and then we still need to make a connection with those discount prices. So I'm definitely going to look for shorts, let's say from this supply over here, where there's also liquidity laying under it. So I'm definitely looking at this, then some confirmation, and then I will take a short setup in towards these discount prices. Okay, so for now nothing interesting, and it needs some more development. Going over to CAD yen, well, what do we see? Of course, that we have now turned 4 hour bearish. We have this supply, and we still need to trade in towards those premium prices. And then I will look for confirmation, and then I will take A+ setups to take those shorts or take those liquidity out. So that's definitely what I'm looking at, and definitely what I'm waiting for. So that were the yen pairs. So I hope you liked it, and see you in the next one. Ciao.